It's 1921. Deep underground, a young Noah works beside another man, carving out the passage that will one day become the time travel portal. When Noah suspects the man has lost faith, he kills him without hesitation. The younger Noah looks to his older self for guidance. Both serve Sic Mundus, a secret society of time travelers led by the scarred, unsettling figure known as Adam. Adam gives adult Noah a new mission: retrieve Claudia's diary. Everything is moving toward a single moment, an apocalypse set to strike on 27th of June, 2020.
Do you have doubts?
Jump to 21st June, 2020, 6 days before everything collapses. An investigator named Clausen arrives to take over the missing persons cases, which now include Jonas, Ulrich, and Helga. Katharina desperately searches the caves. Martha ends things with Bartosz, who grows more connected to Noah by the day.
It's better this way.
Adult Jonas finally reveals who he is to Hannah, shaking her entire world. Meanwhile, Alexander orders radioactive waste to be moved into the plant, hiding whatever happened there years ago. In 2053, teenage Jonas wanders the ruins of post-apocalyptic Wyndon. He's monitored by the adult Elizabeth, who survived the destruction and now leads a strict, battle-hardened group. Entry to the old power plant is forbidden, punishable by death. Jonas breaks the rule anyway. Inside the dead zone, he discovers something terrifying and beautiful: a swirling, floating black mass, the God particle in its unstable form. Now in 1987, Mikkel struggles to adjust to life with Inez. He misses home, but he can't explain the truth. Meanwhile, an older Claudia appears to her younger self, handing her precise coordinates for a buried time machine in her own backyard. Egon, now retired, is haunted by doubts about the missing children from 1953. He questions Helgi, who mutters about a white devil, then visits an elderly Ulrich at the psychiatric ward, now a broken man after 34 years locked away. Ulrich pushes him away, blaming Egon for everything he failed to see. In 2020, Clausen and Charlotte interview Regina, who is slowly dying of cancer. She tells them about the mysterious stranger who left pages from Tannhaus's book at her hotel. The new clues shake Charlotte, especially since Tannhaus raised her, and she never knew her biological parents. Adult Jonas brings Hannah into the truth. He shows her the mechanics of time travel and takes her to 1987, where she sees Mikkel alive in Inez's home. The shock rewrites everything she thought she knew about her marriage and her son. In 2053, Jonas listens to Claudia's old recordings and finally learns the truth about the swirling black mass, the God particle, a portal that can send him through time. He tries to reach it, but is caught by Elizabeth's people. She nearly hangs him in public, but stops at the last second and imprisons him instead. Celia, Elizabeth's interpreter, curious and quietly rebellious, frees Jonas. Together, they enter the dead zone. Jonas stabilizes the God particle just long enough to step inside, leaving Celia behind as he disappears into the unknown. In 1954, a young Helgi suddenly returns to Wyndon, scarred and shaken. He refuses to speak to anyone except Noah, the man he has been with for months in 1987, helping build a new time travel device. At the same time, Egon's home life crumbles as his wife Doris secretly starts seeing Agnes. The older Claudia appears in this timeline and seeks out Agnes, who used to be part of Sic Mundus.
Noah's also returned.
I'm not afraid of him.
Agnes then meets her brother Noah and tells him where the missing pages from the time travel diary are hidden. Claudia delivers Tannhaus's book and then approaches her younger father to apologize, leaving him quietly confused. Later, Claudia crosses paths with Noah deep in the forest. Their confrontation ends with Noah killing her. He takes the missing pages, and what he reads unsettles him deeply. When he meets Adam again, he lies and claims he never found them. Egon tries to get answers from Helgi, but gets nowhere. He also checks on Ulrich, who has been locked away for decades and barely responds. Jump to 1987. Egon visits the older Ulrich again. Ulrich finally says who he really is, which makes Egon recall the strange things Mikkel said back in 1986.
Ulrich Nielsen.
After questioning Inez, Egon shows Ulrich a photo of Michael. Ulrich snaps and attacks him, and the staff restrain him. Later, Egon visits Claudia and tells her he's sick. Shocked, Claudia uses the time machine buried in her backyard and travels to 2020, where she breaks down after seeing her daughter, Regina, dying. Jonas wakes up hurt and confused in 1921, where members of Sic Mundus take him in. Once he recovers, he tries to return to 2020 through the passage, but it doesn't exist yet. Noah leads him underground to meet Adam, who reveals the truth. Adam is Jonas many years into the future. In 2020, adult Jonas and Hannah go to the bunker and share everything they know about time travel with Charlotte and Peter. Katerina walks in and struggles to believe any of it until Jonas shows proof and everything clicks. Meanwhile, 1987, Claudia researches her future and finds a report detailing Egon's death. Horrified, she travels back to 1987, shaken by what she read. Clausen questions Alexander at the power plant and pushes him hard enough that Alexander finally admits his real last name. Köhler, Martha, Magnus, Franziska, and Elizabeth return to the caves and catch Bartosz carrying the time travel device. Thinking he's hiding something dangerous, they take the machine and tie him up before leaving.
Martha, you can't do this.
Katharina digs through old-school photos and finds Mikkel in the 1987 class picture, confirming everything Jonas said. In 2053, Celia enters the power plant and confronts adult Elizabeth. Tension rises until Elizabeth admits she knows exactly what the God particle is and how powerful it can be. In 1921, Adam finally speaks with Jonas. Jonas is horrified by the cold, hardened version of himself standing in front of him. Trying to prove a point, Adam reveals the God particle, now stabilized and under his control, and tells Jonas it can take him to any moment he chooses. Jonas sees only one option: return to the day before Michael's death and stop the tragedy that started everything. In 1987, Claudia attempts to rewrite fate by asking Egon to move in with her, hoping her presence can prevent the death she knows is coming for him. Meanwhile, Ulrich escapes the psychiatric ward once again and manages to reach Mikkel at the Conwald home. During their tense conversation, Mikkel finally understands the impossible truth. The old man in front of him is his father. Ulrich tries to take Mikkel back through the cave to restore their family, but the police intercept him before he gets the chance. In 2020, Katharina tries to tell Magnus and Martha the truth she's uncovered, but they dismiss her, frustrated by how absent she's been. Desperate for answers, she turns to Hannah to understand how time travel works and how to get her son back.
A time machine. And do you know how this thing works?
At the same time, adult Jonas visits Charlotte at the Doppler house. She tells him that Tannhaus isn't her real grandfather and that she has never known who her parents were. Later, Magnus, Martha, Franziska, and Elizabeth head back into the caves, where Bartosz reveals the time machine and takes them with him to 1987, pulling them straight into the timeline they never expected. Finally, Noah finds Charlotte at Tannhaus's workshop and drops the revelation that changes everything for her. She is his daughter. Jonas travels back to 20 June 2019, determined to stop Michael from taking his own life. Meanwhile, his 2019 self spends the day at the beach with Martha, Bartosz, and Magnus. During that outing, Mikkel crosses paths with his adult self without realizing the significance of the moment. At the same time, Charlotte and Peter try to hold their marriage together after the fallout from Peter's affair, and Alexander becomes increasingly worried that his hidden past is about to surface. Later, after watching his younger self walk away from the lake, 2020 Jonas shares a brief kiss with Martha, a moment that complicates everything he already knows about their future. That same day, 2019, Jonas and Hannah arrive at the Nielsen home for Ulrich and Katharina's anniversary party. Events spiral into the familiar loop. Jonas ends up sleeping with Martha, and Ulrich begins his affair with Hannah. When 2020 Jonas finally reaches Michael, he tries to convince his father not to go through with ending his life. But Michael reveals he never intended to do it that day, and that Jonas himself was the one who led Mikkel into the portal in the first place. After reading the letter he will one day write, Michael suggests Jonas has come back not to prevent his death, but to ensure it happens.
If you don't kill yourself, none of this will happen.
The loop closes further when Elder Claudia appears. She insists that Michael must die, and Mikkel must travel to the past. Otherwise, Jonas will never be born. Jonas is forced to accept that the cycle demands his father's death. Back in 1921, older versions of Magnus and Franziska meet with Adam, quietly voicing their concerns about the direction he is leading Sic Mundus.
Cause of death? Gunshot wound.
In 1954, Egon receives the coroner's report on Claudia's body. The unusual radiation levels make her death even more suspicious. Although they first assume she kidnapped Helgi, Helgi claims that he warned him about Claudia, the so-called White Devil.
The White Devil.
Hannah also arrives in this timeline and visits Ulrich in the asylum. Ulrich begs her to help him escape and promises to leave Katharina for her, but Hannah doesn't believe him. She walks away, leaving him stranded in a timeline he can't escape. In 1987, Claudia makes another attempt to save her father, but Egon has pieced together enough clues to realize she knows far more about the caves than she ever admitted. Accusing her of using them for selfish reasons, he threatens to send officers to investigate. A struggle breaks out over the phone. Egon slips, falls, and is fatally injured. With his last breath, he calls her the White Devil, confirming her worst fear.
You are the White Devil.
Moments later, 2020 Jonas arrives and tells Claudia there is still a chance to shift the course of events, but only if she follows his lead. In 2020, Martha encounters the adult Jonas for the first time.
Jonas.
Meanwhile, Clausen confronts Alexander about his identity. He explains that his own brother vanished in 1986, and that his name was Alexander Köhler. An anonymous letter claimed the truth about the disappearance could be found in Wyndon. Pressed for answers, Alexander says nothing. 1921 becomes the breaking point. Noah storms into Adam's chamber, convinced he finally sees the truth, that Adam has been manipulating him for years. He raises the gun, ready to end everything, but the trigger clicks uselessly. Adam stands untouched, almost bored, reminding Noah that fate has already ruled him out as the man who kills Adam. Then Adam cuts deeper. He tells Noah that the child he has been trying so hard to protect, Charlotte, is actually his own daughter, born from Elizabeth, the girl Noah hasn't even met yet as an adult. The revelation shatters him. Before Noah can gather himself, Agnes appears and silently does what Noah could not. She shoots him, ending his fight in a single cold moment. Meanwhile, 2020 is unraveling. Young Jonas explains to Claudia that her older self taught him how to save the world, while Adam wants to destroy it. Charlotte discovers the radioactive waste buried in the power plant. Peter, Elizabeth, teen Noah, 1987 Claudia, and Regina take shelter in the bunker. Jonas and Martha reunite, but Adam interrupts and shoots Martha. Clausen opens the barrels at the power plant, releasing dark matter. In 2053, Elizabeth activates the machine. Magnus and Franziska do the same in 1921. Katharina opens a cave gate, creating a portal linking Elizabeth to Charlotte in 2020.
My body is a cage.
As Wyndon collapses in the apocalypse, adult Jonas takes Bartosz, Magnus, and Franziska to an unknown time, while young Jonas meets another Martha, not from another time, but from another world. And that's where Season 2 ends. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more mind-bending recaps.